Hello, how is everyone doing? We are here today talking about Serath, my main. I've been playing a lot of her since this game came out. I've played her years ago, a lot, quite a bit. She wasn't my favorite character ever, but she was one of my favorites, and now she's here again, stronger than ever, really powerful in the Overprime specifically. The way the game is paced, her high burst and everything. We'll go over all of her abilities and stuff. So I hope you guys are doing well. And if you're here for the Serath guide or you're here to get some information on what she does, I'm going to explain her whole kit today. I'm going to try to go in depth with it a little bit. I won't keep it too long, but I might go a little over. So if you guys do enjoy the video, please drop a subscribe. You guys have been killing it with the support. I really appreciate it. I'm hoping to hit 1,000 before the end of December. We have 13 something days left, so hopefully we can get there. But yeah, I really appreciate your support. So guys, with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Serath, my favorite character. Placed her A tier in the tier list. I said she was borderline S. Now let me explain my logic for that. Serath has a lot of damage in her kit. Her abilities are really good. Her laning phase is really good. She's really strong early, mid, and late game. And she can be 3 different roles in one, basically. Hybrid, tanky, full damage, which we'll go over. And she's also the strongest damage warrior in the game. She has the highest, not only the highest scaling, I believe. I think she does have the highest numbers as well for scaling percentage physical damage. But on top of that, she also just has the best ultimate to engage with, since her ultimate gives her a 40 damage weaken to the enemy for herself, not for her team. So it's only for her. I said that in my tier list. It's for her team. It's not. That'd be really broken. It already is broken for her. She does a lot of damage. So even as a full tank, she can still do a lot of damage because she gets a 40 damage increase on her ultimate at max level, and we'll go over that. So her roles. What is Serath exactly? Serath is a melee warrior. She uses autos that cleave pretty wide arcs, so she's easily able to clear camps. She's able to clear lane really easily. And this design was easily intended as well because originally Serath was, for all intent and purposes, a true carry. She was a melee carry, one of 2 melee carries in the game. You can argue 3 if you can consider Wukong, but he was more of a warrior in my opinion. Didn't really have carry potential. Granted, he could do that because he was so broken, but he wasn't designed for it like Yin and Serath were, which Yin and my other favorite character coming in hopefully soon, fingers crossed. Yeah, Serath is a carry, at its heart, and it's reflected in her one ability, which we'll go over as well, and we'll talk about later. But she's not only a carry in this game, she was actually listed as a warrior, and all the warriors in this game not only can jungle pretty reasonably, they can all jungle, some better than others, but on top of being able to jungle, they're all solo laners. They're all capable of having very high damage as well as very high tankiness. Depending on who you are, some are better than others. And like I said, out of all the warriors in the game, if you look at the list here, Serath, out of the 5, is just the best. Now, there is more solo laners as well, and junglers. It's not just these 5, but I'm talking about in this class archetype, her damage is the highest. Now, arguably, you could say Feng Mao, if he lands every single ability, technically would have higher damage. The application for his abilities, though, aren't as good. His ultimate does do very high damage, like instantaneously in a burst, but over time, Serath is probably going to do more damage anyways, especially with her autos just being straight up better. Easier to get off. She's just a better auto attacker. She has, a better application for autos since you're taking more damage from her ultimate. Same with Grux as well. He's also kind of stronger than Feng Mao. But we're not comparing them in this video. Her damage is the highest. You can do the numbers, test her ultimate with items and everything else in consideration as well. Like I said, her damage is the highest. Second being Grux, third being probably Feng Mao, and then fourth being Chimera, Kwang being the last one, because he's more of a tank, although he's still, I think, the strongest out of the 5. He's again, more of a tank. But yeah, she's amazing. She has very high damage. So if you guys like high bursty characters while still having really powerful autos, Serath is the way to go. She's also super safe, and like I said, we'll go over all that. But enough said. She is a carry, she is a solo, but she's also a great jungle. I would say her strongest role probably is solo, realistically, because she is a fantastic tank, and tanks are broken right now in the game. I think when the tanks get nerfed, she'll probably be a better jungle than solo, just because it'll go more damage oriented. And I've created 3 builds for the scenario just to that can be played pretty much anywhere. Aside from solo, I guess. Can be played in carry and mid, which also she is a great mid laner. And the reason for that is because one of her abilities gives her invincibility frames, so depending on the mage you're fighting, it's going to be super easy to dodge their abilities. And I found that out personally when I was fighting one of the most powerful mages in the game, Gadget. Literally couldn't beat me in lane because I would avoid all of her damage almost every single time. She would only get me with every other sticky because my cooldown was short enough at the beginning of the game to dodge at least one sticky, which was amazing. In late game, obviously, you literally never get hit by stickies, usually, unless you just use your invincibility, so you can just save it for Gadget, E, or whatever ability, and you can also dodge abilities with it as well, which is really nice. So let's go over her abilities. So her abilities, starting off, she has her left click, like I said. It's a pretty wide cleave. It does a considerable amount of damage. Right now, at max level, it's 133. It actually isn't the highest auto damage ever. I think Grux is higher, but still pretty high damage. I don't know why it's 134. Doesn't say that. But it does 133 at 18, at 1.2 attack speed. I'm not sure if her attack speed is the highest. I haven't checked all the values of each character, so forgive me. I'm not like super knowledgeable about the specific character stats in this game yet, but her defenses are pretty high as well. 112 physical defense at a high level, and then 66 magical defense at a high level, which again makes her a fantastic tank. She has very high physical and decently high magical, which is really nice. Obviously, you're going to need some armor shred for her. Even at a full damage level, they made her pretty tanky. But yes, like I said, cleave autos. Her main clear ability is going to be her right click, which is Angel's Wing Beats. It spreads her wings to slow enemies within range by 25% for 2 seconds and deal 326 physical damage. It's a really big burst. This is with no items, of course, so it scales up no matter what. Already doing pretty high damage with this. It's an 80% physical damage scaling, which is insane. It's some of the highest damage you can get on a right click. I believe Grux right click over time does more, but she does more than Fang Mao, she does more than Quan, more than Chimera. More than most characters in the game with their clear ability, actually. You'll see early game, if a Serath knows how to play, that you're just getting pummeled because she just has way high damage. I really think it's impossible, aside from fighting a Kwong in the jungle, for her to lose at that level 2 invasion when you're invading their red, if you are using that strat. Because she's just so strong at level 2 because she has her fly to get out of situations, which you should always get second. And then you also have your right click to just slam the enemy and you slow them for 2 seconds. So it's really good for just ganking and killing people as well, if you're doing the jungle role, as well as if you're in carry or mid. It's just really good burst. You fly in, you burst them, you just walk backwards. They get scared, they walk away. Your support keeps you alive if you're in right. Mid, you don't take a lot of damage anyways, so you're just bullying them. She's really strong with that ability. It's her bread and butter. You'll see her right click being the best ability she has. She doesn't have a lot of damaging abilities. Well, kind of, but it's still really strong. But yes, her right click, like I said, very powerful, very strong. Definitely one of the best abilities in the game, in my opinion, for damage. Her next ability is going to be Execution by Illusion. This is a ranged auto. Literally 100% of your physical power, which is equal to your auto. So it literally matches your auto. Now this is what makes her a prime carry. Even without this, I'd still say she's probably a carry, even if it didn't do this. This ability crits, so I didn't want to build any items on her to yet, but I will show you, I guess, just to give you an example, just so you know I'm not lying. Sorry, let me go back in the base real quick. And it's pretty incredible though that this ability can do this, because it's just like, oops. It's just amazing. I think it's kind of broken that they kept it, considering she scales more like a warrior. As you can see, the ability crits, and obviously this ability is on a 6-second cooldown, so you have a ranged auto basically that crits for 587 and makes you invincible. So if you're fighting like 4 or 3 people, you can crit all of them in that fashion super easily, which is really amazing. Very, 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 very cool. Again, it keeps her carry identity. I don't know where they want to go with Serath here. I think they should nerf her, make her more of a carry, and scale all carries down at level 1, including her, because she technically still falls in that carry role pretty easily, especially with that credibility. Even without it, she still is, but makes her very valuable in the carry role if you have a good support and stuff. But yes, her ability is a ranged auto, very strong, even without crit, still very strong. It's just another poke ability. It does a lot of damage, especially at full build. I've gotten so many kills with it at like level 4, 5, 6, despite it being, you know, just another ranged auto. When they're 1 HP, it feels really nice. The tracking is pretty good. You just got to know where to aim it. Sometimes I'll be able to hit from here, and then as they're moving, they'll move out of the circle, and they'll still get hit by it at the time I placed it. So if I put it here and they walk out of it, they'll still get hit. Amazing ability, fantastic. Very, very good poke. Early game, it's really nice to have it as well when you're laning. So if you're doing solo, carry, or mid, It's just another poke ability. You don't really have to worry about clearing minions as much in this game super heavily. Like, you don't have to die for it. So it's not like the biggest deal that she doesn't have like ranged autos. But it doesn't really matter. Again, like I said, you just jump in and you burst anyways with this ability, which is her descending ability. She flies in, dealing magical damage, so it's not physical, sadly. I don't know why all dashes in the game are magical. It's just weird to me. Whatever. She jumps, flies in, deals 200, or, you know, magic damage, whatever, at a base level. You're never going to get more damage out of this ability because you're never going to build magical unless you have, like, Smite or the dual vial that gives you lifesteal, which you could, I guess, do. But it's just kind of a mean build. But yes, it's a really, really good ability. What also you can do in this ability, though, is if you can just hover in the air after, like, a certain amount of seconds, and you could decide where to go during a fight, which I think makes this ability one of the best engage and disengage abilities in the game. It also is vertical, so you can go up if you have like a ledge. You can actually go on it. Now, it does get clipped in the jungle a lot. Hopefully they can fix the collision issues in this game because there's so many of them. I get stuck on things all the time, especially if you're fighting an orb. Do not use this when you're in the orb prime. Walk away from the orb and try to fly out, because if you try to use it when you're inside of it, you'll get stuck in the orb. It happens all the time. You can use it next to people, though. No issues of bugs or any issues or collision issues. Very good ability, very solid. I love it. Fantastic. I thought it was one of the worst in the game at first, thinking like, man, it doesn't go that far, and then I escape almost every situation using this because I'm able to get out super easily. I'm also able to just wait for my abilities to come back up. If you're playing more of a bursty playstyle and less of an auto attack playstyle, if you just wait in the air for a bit and then you come down and hit the right click, and you do that all, by the way, that's how you lane with her. We'll explain that later, but that's exactly how you lane with her. You literally just fly in and hit the right click. You have to look for an opening. Hopefully your support and carry lane will stun them or give you a shield or something going in there. You know, Decker or Muriel. Or steal, or pop them up, and then you can start blasting it with autos, make them back up, because you will always outtrade them when you hit them with this burst. It's really high damage. And then in her ultimate, her transforms into an Angel of Balance for 15 seconds, which they buffed, burning all enemies within range, deals 60 magical damage to burn victims, but also increases the enemy's received damage by 40% for 4 seconds. A successful basic attack on a burned enemy deals 28 plus whatever bonus physical damage, so your basic attacks also get a stem increase, which is why I said she's the best dueler in the game. The only other two people that have like increases in their ability or their auto attack damage is Kwong, who can't build attack speed, so he loses in the auto trade. Technically, he still wins by gimmick of knockup, but which he'll beat Serath, by the way. Don't try to fight a Kwong who's building right. He'll always beat you. I don't think there's anything you can do aside from run away. Wait for his ult to end and poke him with your team. And then Grux, who she can actually trade Grux. Grux used to be the king of 1v1s because of his ultimate. She actually completely outtrades him. I remember back in OG Paragon, it was harder for her to outtrade Grux because she scaled like a carry. Like I said, in this game, she doesn't scale like one. They don't have carry scaling as well, aside from defenses, and she scales like a warrior while still having the ability to crit with her ability, which is why I think she's a little broken and they should nerf it. I love Serath, but I think she needs to scale like a proper carry, reduce her health by like 300, 400, reduce her defenses, make her early game weaker, make her autos weaker early game, make her damage burst a little weaker early game, along with all the carries, by the way, because their early games, I think, are just way too strong, way too oppressive, way too powerful, and true, she is a carry. That is her role. Realistically, you can play her in the carry lane. It's not a troll pick. If your support is playing the game, you will dominate if you know how to play her. Obviously, don't do it if you're new, but if you don't know how to play a melee carry, it's very viable. It works. She's the only melee carry in the game right now. Yin is coming soon. Hopefully, she retains that carry identity. But yeah, she is definitely a very viable carry. You can build full crit, you can build full damage, and you can build tanky. So in carry lane, what you would basically do, like I said, it would just be you flying in, jumping down, and using the right click. That's basically all carry lane is for you, for poking the enemy. And then other than that, you walk up to the wave and hit it when you can. And then if you feel like you're about to lose a fight, just dash away. The only one who could really catch you would be Twin Blast. And even then, if he gets too close to you, you could just decide to turn on him if your support is good. You'll always have the advantage no matter even if you're fighting like a rampage support, if he hits you with a rock. You can also dodge abilities, which is really nice. So if you know an ability's coming, like a rock or a stun or something, you could just dodge it. You are in lane, and the longer you hit things in lane, the longer the illusion goes out. So it stays for 0.4 seconds. So if there's more than one target in your circle, it's extended by 0.4 seconds for every single target. So if you're in lane, and you keep that invincibility the entire time while the illusions are summoned. So you can just chain the wave in lane and avoid all the damage that comes your way if they decide to press you, and then turn and start blasting them. I love doing that because you're like, oh crap, she just turned the tides, and completely decimate them. It's really amazing, really fun to do. A lot of counterplay involved in that. Like I said, I really love dodging abilities with it. But yeah, so her early game is very strong because, like I said, she has high burst, she has good poke, she has a good get-in ability, she, again, really high damage, she can beat any carry, she can beat any mid, she can pretty much, aside from maybe Gideon or something, that can get away easy. She can rotate really easy, she has high pressure, she can beat pretty much any jungler aside from Kwang. Like, she has the full package. I heard people say she's weak. I think she's one of the strongest characters. I think she's borderline us. I think she's one of the strongest characters in the game. Literally just analyzing her kit, she does too much for her not to be good while still having very high stats at a base level. And she has like 3 different build paths. You guys see me play Serath all the time. I carry with her a lot because people, like I said, like I carry the game with her a lot. People don't know how to play her, which confuses me. She's not that complicated of a character to me, but I can understand the complications. There is a lot of text to her with like the fly and the invincibility. And then the burst damage, she is a bursty character with good autos, so, yeah, her mid game, very good, she's still holding strong. Usually you'll be ahead, even if you aren't ahead, you'll still contest everyone really well. You still deal extremely high damage. People should be very afraid of you at this point in the game, whether you're a tank, a carry, a solo, a mid, doesn't matter, a support. You will be very afraid of a Serath that's actually really good. She just does really, really high damage. You'll always be afraid of damage in this game, just very, very high. You look for opportunities to engage a fight in the back, and then go in. The only problem with her is that she doesn't have any really hard CC. She only has a slow, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, neither does Fang Mao, and everyone thinks he's great, so it's like, you know, like, she's a better Fang Mao, you know? She has way more in her kit than he does. And his execute isn't percentage based either, and while her ultimates will guarantee you damage as long as you can hit your target, even as a tank, so she's really, really good. But yeah, like I said, she's very amazing, very strong. I definitely love her kit. Her identity is really, really good. They did a great job with it. I just think she's too strong. Now let's actually, now that we went over all of her roles and all of her, like her early, mid, and late game phasing. Oh, and then late game, obviously you're unstoppable. You're very high damage, very high burst. As long as your team is playing with you, you're pretty much just gonna kill whoever you want. As long as they're not a tank, and even then, if you have any sort of pen, it's just like game over for them. Just ult the tank as well. They take 40% increased damage by you and start beating them. You'll always win the 1v1 if you're building correctly. Even as a full damage, I've been able to beat people with Zimia's high end and like what is the other Zinx Claw barrier with no pen, which is crazy to me. Just full crit when I was trolling. So she's still really, really strong. But yeah, very, very strong character, very high late game carry potential. I like building her full damage as well in a lot of my casuals, which I play mostly casual. I've only had 3 ranked games, so, you know, disclaimer, I'm not like a pro player. I'm not a pro ranked player or anything. I just like to chill with my friends and play. But most of my games, I have a 20 hours on her and like probably like a 60-something% win rate in general. I won a lot of my games on her. I usually win a lot of my games on her, but yep, very strong character. I love her so much. She's very cute too. That's a plus. Yeah, like I said, she has 4 roles: carry, mid, jungle, solo. Mid, same thing. Like I said, you jump in, you burst. Solo lane, you just attack the solo lane when you can, but don't overextend too hard because the minions will hurt you. You'll pretty much outclear any other solo. Be careful with Aurora because you don't want to really fight her ever. Just ignore her and let her do her own thing. Literally let her just do her own thing, because she'll be a problem for you no matter what. If she's like Aurora is anti-melee. You do not want to fight her. Unless you know her. If she uses a ring on the wave, then you go in on her. She'll just backflip though and get away from you. So, and then you can dash on her and then she'll dash away. Don't really worry about fighting her. You're never going to kill her ever. And when she gets her ult, play safe, because if you get ganked, you're going to die. So matchup wise, she's the only real problem for you. Everyone else is pretty easy. You can kill Rampage, you can kill Sevarog. Don't fight a Kwang ever, just run away. It's not worth it. Fight Grux, you'll beat him. As long as you have your ultimate, you'll always beat Grux if he uses his. As long as you're playing correctly and you're not low. Fang Mao is a wash. His ultimate is bad. You do way more damage than he does early game. You do way more damage in general. You have better poke. Like, his get it ability is the only way for him to engage. You walk up to them and you slow them. Right when he gets in, you just burst him down. Don't really worry about engaging on him. Let him engage on you. If he walks up to you, just start fighting him. You'll beat him. And that's pretty much, and then Chimera is a joke. Just hit him. He's gonna die. Just keep hitting him whenever he's close to you. He doesn't have an escape. You could just go on him and kill him. And you do way more burst damage than him. Just be careful of his ultimate. Try to like iframe it if you can, but it's pretty impossible. He'll just wait. So ult him and just kill him. Super easy. Super simple. All of her matchups are pretty easy in the solo lane, except for Aurora. Shinbi is pretty complicated, actually. Just be careful of Shinbi. You'll never catch her, realistically, but she has very high damage. So build tanky for fighting a Shinbi. Like, build Spirit's Fang and then right into Zimia's. She'll build tanky, too. She'll probably crush you. She's really strong in the solo lane. Once she gets her tank items online, and she'll have teardrops, so just play really safe, because she will, if you try to engage her, she'll kill you if she turns the tides, because she will catch you with 2 dashes. Anyways, enough blabbling. Let's go on to the builds. I'm going to use a builder site called, I think it's Paragon Codex. So if you guys, it's going to be linked below for these builds, as well as the site in general, so you guys can make your own builds, and you can save it, you can look at it later, you can keep it on another screen, whatever. Very useful site. I believe the streamer Awake created the site. It is called Paragon Codex. Very, very useful. I definitely love the site very much. Let's get right to it. So this is the upgrade order for Serath. Basically, we're going to go over all the upgrade orders. So I typed this out. You guys can read the description. I said these 3 builds are made for each role in mind. Full damage if you are a carry or in casuals. It will allow you to hyper carry way more. Tank and hybrid are more for jungle solo. Serath feels way better hybrid. You can also use full damage or hybrid for mid. Don't use full tank for mid. Really not worth it. Just use full tank for solo. But she's an amazing tank, so you can also do whichever you feel better with. You can switch out items like Ghost Axe or Chainsaw, which we'll go over, for any different item, or ally crossbow if % pen isn't needed. Which again, if there's one tank in the game, you don't really need pen unless they're a massive issue and they're level 18. Most likely though, if it's one tank, you probably won't have an issue if their jungler isn't a tank, because you're going to be building better than them and you beat every other person. Yep. Let's go over it. Oh, also Xena. I forgot to say about her Xena matchup. In solo lane, Xena is a joke. If she dashes at the wave, just kill her. Literally just turn around and kill her. That's her main form of clearing. Otherwise, you'll beat her in the trade in the auto wave. You beat her in auto trade as well. If she dashes, just kill Xena. That's it. Like, that's it. Late game, it's going to be hard to deal with her, but you'll be tankier than her probably. She's a better full damage than a tank for sure, but she still is very strong. She's also an assassin now. But yeah, solo Xena is pretty much a joke. People fall for it all the time. It's super easy to kill a solo Xena. When she dashes to the wave, just don't use any of your abilities in the wave. Go up and auto it. If she's autoing the wave, you can hit her. Otherwise, clear the wave. And then if she dashes at it, just turn around and kill her. That's the way you beat Xena in solo. And then jungle Xena, good luck. As Serath, you don't have that much of an issue. You can beat her pretty easily, but just don't let her get super... Just worry about your team getting killed by her, because she's really strong. But you'll beat her every single time at level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, whatever, level 6. You'll always beat her. She's just, you know, not that strong in comparison to you for bursting and killing. You can survive her ultimate. You can also iframe her last hit of her ult, which is the biggest hit. So, anyways, going over this, sorry. So her ability order, upgrade to right click first, which is her Angel Wings of Beats, and then her second ability you want to get is her Dissension. You want an escape second. I always like getting my escape second, unless I'm like Grux and I want the pull. Sometimes I'll get that first, otherwise I'll get my dash. But yeah, on Serath, you get the escape second, upgrade it fully. Upgrading the Q only lowers the cooldown. It's not that important. I'd rather have the dash upgraded fully for a lower cooldown, because it's more important to get out more. You could technically upgrade this first if you really want to poke more in lane. It's not that important though. Like, you really want to fly in and then use your right click more. That's like the you don't really use this ability unless you need to, or unless you feel like you want to poke randomly. But like, do it when you're safe. Don't do it when you're or when you're pressing them. Like when they're out of range and they break contact, just hit them with the auto. Especially if they're low. Like, dive a little bit, hit them if you can, and then just back up and hit the auto and hope it kills. If you ult, by the way, I'll upgrade the ult whenever it's available too. Super useful. Always prioritize ult over anything else. These other 2 abilities. But yeah, right click first, ult second, technically, descending second. You know, for regular ability order, and this is the last one. Any of your abilities apply the burn for the ult as well. So if you hit the ult and then you hit the Q, which is the invincibility, it applies burn to whoever you hit for 4 seconds. Also the 40% damage increase. Really nice. It also stacks with the item effects. So you use like Spirit's Fang, it does more damage, all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. Yes, anyways, looking at all these builds, it basically, the layout works. You make a build and it lays all the stats out. you're supposed to do a starter, mid, and endgame set, but I just made 3 different builds here, so ignore these. It's just 3 different builds. There's also an optional set, which I put the starters in that you would use. These are the only 2 starters you'll ever use in Serath. Don't use red, gray, or yellow unless you're support for some reason. Like if you're support, always use yellow. Otherwise, don't use red or gray, and don't use blue because you're not a mage. It's also green is just the best starter in the game anyways. I think you should use this in any role. It's just very strong. Unless you're Sparrow, there's really no reason not to use it. It's just a very, very strong thing in general. Gives you 7 power, 120 health, and health regen and mana regen. It's better than red or blue. They need to buff starters, all the starters, including this one. But this is the best because the 50 damage negation is really nice. Every time you exit combat, it feels good. And it also gives you health regen. So you get Spirit's Fang first on pretty much every build. I put Zymia's here for if you want to be a true tank, go Zymia's first. But even in solo, if you could get the like advantage, just go Spirit's Fang first. Like you'll have it's 2,800 gold. It's so cheap. It's less it's 500 less gold than Zymia's. It's super nice, very cheap. Most tank items are pretty expensive. But even then, except this one, but even then, man, it's just Spirit's Fang is literally her bread and butter. At 300, it's probably the best item on Serath in the game, just because it gives you a burst of damage. When you fly in, you can instantly press the burst. You have a lot of power. Your scaling for physical is already extremely high. You get 40 power. You get the only attack speed item you'll get usually, unless you're full damage. Even in full damage, you still get it first. You get 300 health, which is going to help you survive a lot of encounters. You get a massive slow that you can use with your right click. You hit the sword, they get slowed. Then you hit your right click and they get slowed. It stacks for a sec. It feels really, really bad again when you're playing against it. Every 20 seconds, it's amazing, and you get 300 health. God tier. So with hybrid as well as full tank, you'll always go Zymia's first or second, regardless. You can pretty much follow this build in any role. Now you can use these 2 builds in solo lane if you want. This build being the better jungle build right here, and then this mid build here, sorry, there's a plane going over my house, and then the middle one being a better like I guess tank build for solo. Specifically, I wouldn't use this in the jungle personally unless you are just getting absolutely dogged and you just don't feel like you can do anything. Even then, I'd still try to go the more damage oriented build because you'll turn the tide of a game with more damage than more tank. Full tank is only if your team is like playing well. And some characters can only be full tank in my opinion to a good extent. Like Aurora is better full tank. She's a god tier character. She's the best character in the game in my opinion. But she's really only she's more of a support tank. She frontlines like crazy. She can chase. She can engage. But you need your team to follow up. And this is the build. The same thing. You still have Spirit's Fang, which makes you strong. And you can change some of these items around if you want. I think the only core items you really need is Spirit's Fang, Zymia's, and high end. You can change pretty much everything else. I think Great Sword of the Hurricane is a fantastic item on her, though. I think you should keep it. Honestly, I feel like in the tank build, you can change out like Berserker's Helm if the mage isn't that much of an issue, or even anti-crit and just go with... Honestly, you can change out anti-crit and go with Great Sword of the Hurricane for the full tank build. Still be pretty tanky while maintaining it. It's just a fantastic item in general. It's pen. It's basically pen. It shreds their armor by like 35 or something like that. Or something along those lines, something like 28 or something like that, I don't know. It gives you defense as well, so it's a shred that gives you defense. It has cooldown 15%, 300 health, and 35 power. It's a great burst item for Serath and stuff, and other characters as well. Very, very good item, as well as Spirit's Fang. So you get Spirit's Fang for the hybrid. This is the build I'd recommend the most. Even if you're playing carry, you could probably still build hybrid and just win. As carry, I like to be full damage, but you could still just go hybrid. Tanks are just so busted in the game. I'd recommend that actually. So if you're playing a ranked game or something, just go hybrid. Like it's just so strong. But if you really want to go full damage, do it. I use this for my casual games. It's really fun to hyper carry. But again, in ranked, it's like just go hybrid and carry, and mid in solo, just do it. Or in solo, go full tank if you need to. But otherwise, go solo. Depends on who you're playing with, I guess. And then in the jungle, go hybrid as well. Don't go full tank. Full tank only for solo, exclusively for solo. Very good build. High end, it literally negates basics. Great Sword of the Hurricane, it's shred, it's amazing. Zymia's very strong, AoE magical damage. Burst, health, attack speed, power, fantastic. Best item on Serath ever. Emergency Rescue Unit, this item is top tier. It increases your hero's physical power by 15% and grants a shield of equal to your 15% of your max health. I'm not going to map this out, you guys can, but her max health is like 4,000 something with this build. It's plus 2,000. I don't know what her base health, and I wish it told you. Oh, right. Sorry. Let me level this up real quick so you guys can see. at level 18. It's only 4,187. So when you make it to level 18, you'll literally have a fat shield of like 1,000 or something, and it stacks with other shields. Like if you have a Muriel, you're never gonna die with emergency rescue unit, and you'll do a lot of damage. And also, if you're full damage and you decide to build it instead of lifesteal or instead of chainsaw, it also stacks with Fanatic's Desert or any other shield in the game. So it's top tier. So very, very good item. It also increases your physical power by 15%. So this, and this all gonna increase 15%. Plus Spirit Fang does more damage and stuff. It's amazing. It's top tier. It's a very good item. You can honestly build this third if you want. I like going great. Like I said, you could change anything around in this hybrid build. It's up to you. But I'd like to keep going Spirit's Fang into Zymia's mostly. That's generally what you want to do on most of these builds. And then Ghost Axe, you can switch out if you don't want the health, the cooldown. I'd say try to get a cooldown from any item. Go like the Pen Shred cooldown one with the slow or something. You want cooldown in your build for higher burst. You don't need it. You can go lower, but you want it. Definitely. 35 is really nice on a full damage. You don't need it as much on a tank, which is why I made it lower, but it's super nice, super helpful. Very, very good. So full tank build is Zymia's, Spirit's Fang, high end, pretty much in this order unless you want to switch these two. Keep high end third because you're trying to be a tank. You're going to be engaging a lot. You can also use this as a support build if you really get forced in that role, but don't play support Serath. It's just not worth it. Six Claw Barrier, definitely want this on tank Serath. You don't need Berserker's Helm. Like I said, you can change this out, but it has cooldown, which is why I included it. It also has dual defense, which is amazing. No health, but it's like, it's still a lot of defense, cooldown, and it also is a really good deterrent to carries, which are a big issue in late game. And then anti-crit for carries. Now, you could trade this out for magical if they're an issue, trade it out for Pendant of Confinement, or for Mana Black Hole. Either of those two are fine. As long as it has cooldown on it as well, because this only has 5%, you'll get 30 or 35%, which will make it a little bit easier to get in, get out, and burst. But yeah, these are the tank items I recommend. These are the hybrid items I recommend. Tank being for solo, hybrid being for every other role, mid, solo, carry. And then full damage is kind of memey, very good. Start with Spirit's Fang. Go into Chainsaw if there's two tanks. If there's one tank, just go into a Alloy Crossbow. Or sorry, go into your Fanatic Desert right away. So you go into Spirit's Fang right into Fanatic's Desert to get your crit online. Then you go into your Short Sword of Decay and then your Treasure Sword of the Kingdom. And then this item, the fifth item, instead of being, instead of Chainsaw for this on, instead of going, you skip Chainsaw basically, go into 3 crit, and then you go to, what is it? You go into Alloy Crossbow because it just helps you win. Now, if you don't need that Alloy Crossbow because you have so much attack speed and you don't think you need to outtrade a carry, you're already beating them, just go Emergency Rescue Unit. It'll keep you alive. You don't have an absurd amount of health or anything, but it's an extra shield. It stacks with this shield. Just do it. And like I said, it keeps you alive. It also increases your physical power by 15%. If you don't want to go that, you can go like a different item that gives you a slow. If you don't need attack speed, like I said, you already have a crap ton of attack speed with this. So it's already really good. Like you're literally at 2.7 already, so you don't need Alloy Crossbow. But again, it's an anti-carry item, so it's up to you. It also gives you 70 power. You can really go whatever item you want aside from Chainsaw if there's not two tanks, or you can keep Chainsaw and just delete the tank. It's up to you. It's just not necessary. Anyways, these are all 3 of my Serath builds. Sorry, I didn't want to make this video this long. So my closing thoughts on Serath. She is top tier. She's amazing. She literally does so much. She does a lot of damage. She is a great mid, early, and late game character, which some characters have a better late game, early game, or mid game. Oh, also the starter, always go green or Destroyer Stone. Never upgrade your starters either, like ever. Sorry, I forgot to say that. Literally never upgrade them. It's not worth it. It doesn't make any, I don't know why people upgrade them. Only upgrade it if you're like trying to do a smite battle and that's like the only thing that can work. Or if your support, only upgrade it to 2 or 3. But the other carries, except Sparrow, don't really need to upgrade it unless you don't have an escape. Like if you're Revenant, you can go full red. But Twin Blast and Murdoch, maybe even not even Murdoch, you probably shouldn't have it upgraded. It's up to you guys. If you want to play safe, sure, but it's not necessary. Anyways, so like I said, her late, early, and mid game are all very strong. There's no bad time for Serath. She like, unless you're losing, she'll always have a good time. Unlike some other characters who could be weak or they have mana issues or something, she's just solid. Like I think she's a play all fit all character. She can play 4 different roles reliably well in ranked. Like I'm not saying I would play all of them all the time. I need to make sure I have a good support for carry for sure. But she's an amazing pick. She's a solid character. She does way too much damage, in my honest opinion. Definitely recommend trying her out. She's really fun. Really bursty. She has 1v5 potential as well, full damage, even hybrid. Like I said, I carry a lot of my games as her. She's really fun. Her ultimate is insane. She's like just her stat scaling is insane to me. I think, like I said, I want them to nerf her early game, make her more of a carry. She can, like I said, she can 1v1 anyone who's not almost broken, and has really high burst in her abilities and her autos, as well, her cleaving autos, as well as her escape, as well as pressure, make her really viable in lane. Try her out. Try her how I said, how I explained. I hope this guide was useful to you guys. I'm sorry I rambled so much. I literally love her so much. I can't stop talking about her. There's a lot of in-depth mechanics to her, I feel like, and a lot of tech she can do. So it's not just like cookie cutter, like super easy to play. I know there is a little complications with playing her. There's some things you have to do and things you have to be wary of. But at the same time, she doesn't really have that bad of a matchup aside from the absolutely broken characters in the game. Also phase is broken, so she's probably going to beat you every time if you can't see. It's just how it works. Sorry. Try to find her as soon as you can. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to make more guides like this. I think my next guide will probably be Aurora, since she's my second favorite. A lot of people don't know how to play her. She's much simpler, I feel like, to explain than Serath, so hopefully it doesn't like get too complicated. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.